On a beach at night, a group of college students are having a party. They consume alcohol and party around. Mitch tells everyone to put their phones in a bag as stated in the party invite. They party wildly and two students bring a ball of goo they found. They want to burn the ball, but Gilbert gets offended. Everyone forgets about the ball of goo and continues to have fun, and some even starts kissing romantically. The next morning, everyone is asleep. Haley is the first to wake up, followed by Mitch. Haley finds the rest asleep and has an awkward conversation with Mitch. The rest wakes up and Marcia starts vomiting. Haley sees many abandoned items and a bird being swallowed into the sand. She tries to warn Marcia not to step on the sand, but it's too late. Marcia's feet get stuck. The rest think that Marcia is pranking them, but she starts screaming in pain. Vance decides to help Marcia despite warnings from the rest. Once on the sand, Vance trips and falls on the sand. He screams for help and Jonah decides to help but is stopped by the girls. Mitch grabs a buoy but failed to throw it far enough. Vance loses half his face when he tries to lift himself up. However, tiny strands pull him back onto the sand and then pulls his body into the sand. The group is in disbelief and Ronnie deduces that the sand contains chemicals. Chanda comes up the idea to call the police, but their phones are locked in the car trunk. Mitch suggests that they drive off the beach, but the car won't start as its battery died. Suddenly, Kaylee moves closer to the sand, and everyone is shocked. She tells Mitch to listen to her, and shows him that the tiny strands are attracted to living things. Gilbert wakes up and starts yelling for help to get out. The rest warn him that the sand is dangerous, but he doesn't take them seriously until they tell him that Vance and Marcia are dead. Gilbert complains that being in the barrel hurts, so Mitch assures him that the tide will push him closer to them soon. Haley leads Mitch back to the lifeguard post, which makes Jonah jealous. Chanda tells him to let Haley go as she has Mitch now. At the lifeguard post, Haley asks Mitch why he lied to Gilbert about the tide, so Mitch tells her that it's to give Gilbert hope to survive. Ronnie writes her last note to her mother while the rest in the car wait for help. Haley manages to find matchsticks and keeps it with herself. She asks Mitch what happened after the party, so Mitch states that they just talked and didn't have sex. Haley states she would know if they had sex before Mitch finds bottle of sunscreen. She grabs the sunscreen and throws it to the group in the car. Also, she starts asking them if they remembered what happened after the party. Their conversation leads them to realize that the monster has killed most of the students from the party. The girls are devastated, and Gilbert complains that his skin is burning. Jonah calms him down and throws the sunscreen to him. Gilbert applies the sunscreen, which helps relieve his burned skin. Haley catches everyone's attention and points to the goo ball, which Gilbert states that he and Vance found last night. Haley realizes that it was not like that yesterday, so Ronnie suggests that a monster hatched out of it. Haley adds on it is now in the sand and it should not be very big since it only hatched last night. Haley gets sausages from the cooler and throws it towards the sand. The sausage gets eaten by the monster, and Mitch takes over to throw the sausages, which gets eaten by a bird. Mitch sees the bird eating the sausage besides him and started complaining. However, he is shocked when he sees the bird getting swallowed by the sand. Haley tells Mitch to throw the sausage to the other side of the beach. It lands on the sand but does not get eaten by the sand. They realize that other side of the beach is safe, but Ronnie states that nobody will find them, which causes everyone to lose hope. Jonah decides to act and grabs a few surfboards. He brings the boards to the front of the car and lays out the first board before jumping on it. He lays out the second board and steps on it, and tries to grab the first board. Haley stops him and reminds him not to touch the sand. Jonah grabs the first board and places it ahead of the second board. Jonah stops and confronts Haley about her avoiding contact with him. He asks if it's because he kissed Chanda, and Mitch tells him that he is an asshole. Jonah yells that Mitch is a shithead, which causes Mitch to walk away. Jonah steps on the bench with one foot, which causes the board to move back, and the girls tell him that the monster is also moving the boards. Jonah is forced into a plank position and tiny strands start attacking his stomach. Jonah manages to climb on the bench, but lie on the bench in pain. He yells that it hurts 1,000 times more than a jellyfish sting, so Ronnie tells everyone that the monster poisoned Jonah. Chanda calms him down, and Jonah looks into a bag on the bench. He accidentally drops a banana out of the bag but manages to grab it back. He realizes something is wrong, so he moves the banana from the sand to the fire pit. He jumps on the fire pit, but nothing happens to him, so he tells everyone that the monster hates fire. He proceeds to eat the banana, but the rest tell him that his injuries are filled with pus. He starts panicking and wants to be left alone, but Haley orders him to continue searching the bag. He throws a canned drink to Ronnie, who shares it with Chanda, and a bottled water to Gilbert. He misses his throw to Haley and Mitch as he yells in pain. The pus on his wounds starts popping, putting him in great pain. Jonah lies on the table in pain while Haley cries, showing that she still cares about him. Haley spots the monster trying to sink the car, so Gilbert tells the girls in the car to get the phones in the car trunk. Ronnie tries to pull the back seat down to get into the trunk, but the seats would not budge. Ronnie decides to stand on the car to open the trunk, so Chanda hands her the keys to the trunk. She steps on edge of the car while holding on to Chanda, who mocks her for thinking that she would die doing this. Ronnie manages to open the trunk while holding on Chanda with one hand, but Chanda moves forward, which causes Ronnie to fall on the trunk. They try again, but this time the trunk presses on Ronnie's shin, causing her great pain. So Chanda suggests that she leans back while holding on to a towel held by her as a support. Ronnie holds on to the towel and opens the trunk, but it hits her shin again, so Haley tells Mitch to get the rescue hook in the guard post. Haley holds on to Ronnie using the hook before Ronnie lets go of Chanda to open the trunk. A beach patrol car honks at them, which causes Ronnie to loosen her grip on the hook. She screams in pain while the rest yell at the patrol car for help. They warn the patrol officer that there's a monster in the sand, but he thinks that they are on drugs. He gets out of his car and tiny strands start attaching to his shoes. He goes to check on Jonah, Gilbert, and the two girls in the car while tiny strands continue to attach to his shoes. The officer orders Haley and Mitch to get down of the lifeguard post, but they refuse to go near the sand. The officer decides to use pepper spray on them but drops it on the sand. He picks it up from the sand, but his hand gets stuck. He grabs the pepper spray with his other hand and sprays it at the tiny strands attached to his other hand. But it's too late, half of his other arm is gone. He yells in pain as he falls face flat into the sand. The monster starts eating him, but Haley chooses to grab his pepper spray and not help him. Mitch volunteers to wrap his feet up in towels and then spray his feet with pepper spray to get to the officer's car. So, Chanda throws him the towels and Mitch lean on the rail to catch it. However, the rail gives way, and he lands on the sand. Tiny strands start attaching to his body and eat through his body, leaving only blood on the beach. Haley breaks the railings, and Chanda puts it on the hood of the car. She jumps into the car and punches Chanda for screwing her boyfriend before she forgives her. Haley and Chanda go to help Ronnie, and they pull her hand out of the trunk. Haley wraps her hand using a towel while she screams in pain. They use the rails to build a bridge from their car to the bench Jonah is on. Chanda manages to reach Jonah, and then Haley too gets to Jonah. Ronnie manages to cross half of the bridge, but she stops to prevent her blood from reaching the sand. She loses her balance, and Haley sprays pepper spray on the sand she lands on, but the monster manages to grab her into the sand. Chanda wraps her feet in cloth and makes it to the officer's car. Suddenly, the monster emerges and wraps its tentacles around Gilbert before dragging him into the sand. Next, the monster shakes the car, causing Chanda to fall and knock her head. At nightfall, Chanda regains consciousness and deploys a raft on the sand. She jumps into the raft before they help Jonah onto the raft. Chanda and Jonah manage to get into the car, and the monster tries to attack Haley, forcing her to escape to the roof. The monster grabs one of the petrol cans and Haley takes the remaining can. She pours the petrol in the sand around the car before lighting the monster up. Kaylee gets into the car and the monster attacks the car for a while, and nothing happens to them after that. Kaylee realizes that Jonah is dead, and she holds his hand for the last time. The next day, a surfer knocks on their door. They realize the monster is gone before they leave the beach together. It's revealed that the monster is swimming to another beach to prey on more humans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.